According to Advanced Stats, SGA is the #1 guy in the NBA right now when it comes to drives per game, and second in terms of points generated from it. But just watch what happens here when he tries to attack Ausar Thompson.
Shea this time goes left, and Thompson swiped down.
Let's hit that clip one more time. I mean, though SGA was already a step ahead of him, Ausar was still able to keep in step with him, and even if SGA tried to suddenly decelerate in an attempt to get a contact, Ausar smartly avoided it, and instead gave SGA a block that would haunt him for the rest of his life. There are plenty of interesting rookies in this year's draft, but Ausar Thompson is manually placing the spotlight upon himself with the way he's turning out to be a defensive beast this season. At just 6'6", Ausar plays big for his size, and one of his eye-popping qualities as a defensive player is his long reach. It all starts with his 7-foot wingspan. Jalen Johnson goes strong here inside the lane, but because of his long arms, Ausar was able to wrap him and force a tie-up. Jevon Carter blows by the initial defender here, but as he goes up to lay it in, Thompson is there to meet him up top. And even though Carter already switched hands in midair, Ausar's sheer length ultimately bothered Carter as he blocked this one using his left hand. And if you try to sneak a lead pass in early offense like what Steph did here, Ausar can easily pick passes with his long reach along with his 44-inch vertical jump. Well, speaking of his insane hops, he also uses this when erasing shots as a defensive helper coming from the weak side. Look right here. As Grayson Allen looks to go downhill, Ausar is already observing the movement of his prey, and when he takes it all the way to the cup, Ausar just jumps off 2 feet and swats away his shot to the Suns bench. Again, when he sees that the offensive player is engaged with someone else, he would just stalk them from afar before swooping in when they least expected it. As of this recording, Ausar ranks 3rd in blocks among all rookies with 1.8 a ball game behind Wemby and Chet, and ranks 8th overall in the same category, making him the only guard who got included in the top 10. And in terms of racking up steals, Ausar led all rookies with 1.3 a ball game, which shows that he's making a strong case for the Defensive Player of the Year honors this year. His length and hops really play a huge factor when he's playing defense. But aside from his physical tools, what truly makes Ausar stand out defensively is his relentless drive to make stops in each and every possession. Most players would have easily given up on this play, especially after being caught up in the screen. But watch how Ausar hounds Levine on his hip here, as he reads his double step back perfectly and blocks his attempt with his left hand. Now if you're not paying attention to where he's at, he'll just lunge from your blind side to pick your pocket. And what I like about him is that he would dive and hustle for loose balls just to secure the possession. His anticipation and timing are also second to none. In a rare instance, Thompson was caught napping as Butler slipped along the baseline. But despite the defensive lapse on his part, Ausar was able to make up for it by recovering just in time to block Jimmy's show. Then, after grabbing the offensive rebound and doing several pump fakes, he timed Jimmy perfectly once again before Butler finally dropped it in. As you saw in that clip, Ausar has that rare ability to recover in time if he gets beaten by his man, as if he's got a spider sense or some sort. You can see right here that while Thompson was ball watching, Giddey cuts right behind him. Now when he turns his head and notices that he lost track of Giddey, he knows right away where he's going, as if he has eyes on the back of his head. And despite the lapse, Ausar was able to recover just in time to prevent Giddey from scoring an easy basket. Kevin Love sets a solid screen here to free up Hero on the curl. Despite the fact that he's already compromised with his defensive position, Ausar showcased his lateral quickness here as he kept in step with Hero without fouling before jumping straight up to block his shot. Now, in this pick and roll action, look at how far Ausar is from Maxey after getting tangled up in the Embiid screen. But despite this, he was able to close the gap using his length and prevented Maxey from taking a wide open 3. And on top of all this, Ausar also has a great nose for the ball and has quick hands in picking people's pockets. Now that we know what he can do defensively, let's switch gears and talk about his game from an offensive standpoint. So far across 12 games, he ranks 5th among all rookies in terms of scoring with 12 points a ball game, while shooting 43.2% from the field on 11 shot attempts. Given that playing defense is his top priority, this is quite expected for Ausar, but nonetheless, he has shown this season that he has the potential to become a great scorer someday with his athleticism. So far, most of his buckets are coming from off-ball action, and right after Bagley spins, you see that Ausar quickly flashes inside the paint. Bagley then finds him cutting, and Ausar throws this one down with 2 hands. He has that knack of automatically cutting the moment he sees his defender sleeping on him, and here, he just did exactly that to Levine when his attention was focused on Duran, as he slips behind and cuts inside coming from the weak side corner. But apart from moving without the ball, Ausar also gets most of his points through putbacks after grabbing offensive rebounds. Despite standing only at 6'6", he loves to roam around the shaded lane, as if he's playing like a center, and once his teammates take a shot, he always finds an open space so that he can position himself to battle for rebounds. And because of his leaping ability as well as his hustle, he gives a lot of second chance opportunities for his teammates to score like what he did here against the Bulls. Again, once Killian Hayes takes the jumper, there's Ausar positioning himself right underneath the rim. He grabs the offensive board against 3 black shirts here, but unfortunately, he missed the stick-back jam. Bagley took a sweeping hook here against Draymond and missed, but Ausar once again didn't give up on the play as he just flew in to clean up the mess. In the last 12 games, Ausar tops all rookies with 10.3 rebounds a ball game, beating the 7-foot-plus unicorns Wemby and Chet Holmgren in the process. Also, he ranked 11th in rebounds overall, making him the only natural shooting guard/small forward to be included in the top 20. Anyway, while Ausar is looking like a monster on the defensive end, he needs to put in the work on his offensive game before he can truly become a legit two-way wing. Based on his highlight clips thus far, Ausar frequently turns the ball over when he's trying to attack or create his own shot, which has a lot to do with his indecisiveness on whether he's going to pass or shoot. Aside from this, he also needs to improve his finishing around the rim as he missed a lot of easy baskets with no one contesting him. Lastly, he needs to polish his shooting stroke and work on his three-point shooting. Across 12 games thus far, he's just shooting at an abysmal 14.8% from downtown, and teams would just sag on him and let him take threes all the way since they knew it would not go in anyway. Well, the good thing though, is that the Pistons have a lot of dynamic scorers who can cover for his offensive deficiencies like Cade, Alec Burks, Jalen Duren, Marcus Sasser, Jaden Ivey, and more. But on the other side of the ball, it's going to be Ausar who's going to set the tone defensively for them night in and night out. And even though they're struggling right now with a 2-10 record, the future looks bright for this young Pistons squad, especially with a freak athlete like Ausar Thompson being their defensive star through the next couple of seasons.